Prenuvo is really for people who take charge of their own health. Having that Prenuvo data was very helpful in getting very quick follow-up actions afterward. My name is Vladek, and early detection of my lymphoma by Prenuvo full body scan improved my chances of a cure from about 20 to about 90 or 80%. I lived in Southern California since the early 80s. I've always been passionate about exercise and running, training for marathons. I had trained for a marathon in early June 2022. I was feeling really good. My scan was about 2 weeks after my marathon. And this one felt different than all my previous scans. A nurse practitioner, she mentioned that I have lymphadenopathy that had not subsided since the previous scan a year before. At that point, I was pretty sure that there was something not good, but I couldn't believe it was cancer because years before, I had a renal cell carcinoma and I had a melanoma. So that was my mindset when I went into the biopsy. It's got to be a melanoma recurrence. The oncologist I was working with at the time, he called me and he said, we have good news and bad news, right? The good news is it's not melanoma. The bad news, it's non-Hodgkins lymphoma. The cure rate is 70, 80%, unless it's the double hit kind. He almost said something like, well, God help you then, or something to that effect. I was enrolled in the clinical trial and started chemo within 6 weeks. I did get the final diagnosis. It was double hit lymphoma. When you just Google double hit lymphoma prognosis, it's about 30% survival. I can't believe in with all the preventative, being healthy and running races, trying to eat healthy and all of these other things, that I still have such a kind of a negative prognosis. The feedback from the medical team was, you've caught this so early that you're not really experiencing the full brunt of the disease, and therefore the chemo isn't loading on top of that, right? I asked my oncologist, he said, based on the first 2 chemo sessions, your chances of a cure are probably about 80%, just based on your specific situation. His office is saying that the Prenuvo MRI, the full body MRI, would be a very effective diagnostic tool to watch for return of the disease. So I was kept on the regular chemo, and that ended in November. Having that Prenuvo data was very helpful in getting very quick follow-up actions afterward. Prenuvo is enhancing the scope of data for early detection. For many cancers, there are not a lot of patients whose cancer is detected early at all. And you see this in the literature all the time. For most people, unless you have a very specific concern, don't get a full body scan. It's a waste of money and time. If I had followed that, I would have probably stage 4 double hit non-Hodgkin's lymphoma right now. And my prognosis would probably be 20, 30%. If you assume that your healthy lifestyle, healthy diet, all of that, somehow mitigate the need for preventative action, that I would say is very analogous to saying because you eat healthy food and brush your teeth every day, you don't need to go to the dentist. I just feel very fortunate to be this healthy in my 50s, to be able to run a race at this time and to spend the time afterwards with my kids and my wife, and just feeling very positive about that whole experience and the context around it. My name is Vladek, and this is my Prenuvo story.